Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, today we're going to talk about some idioms with the color blue. That's right. We have quite a few idioms all about the color blue, so we're going to go through a few of them now. The first one is quite simple, out of the blue. Out of the blue, and that's all about something which comes out of the blue. For example, an old friend looked me up on Facebook the other day and sent me a message. It came completely out of the blue. I hadn't heard of him for years. So it's all about something which happens unexpectedly, without any warning. It comes out of the blue. I woke up the other day and out of the blue, I received something in the post that I wasn't expecting. Okay, so something that's out of the blue. My boss called me into the meeting room last week and gave me a pay rise, completely out of the blue. I was shocked. So obviously out of the blue there is because the pay rise was unexpected. Very good, very good. So that's out of the blue. We use that a lot. It's one of my favorite ones. I don't know why we say out of the blue. I don't know where that comes from, because blue can be quite negative as well. If you think of the blues or having the blues. Yeah, because the next one is all about feeling blue. Well, I was feeling a bit blue yesterday. It means feeling a bit down. So this is in direct contrast to the first one. Feeling blue means feeling that you... feeling blue means that you're feeling a little bit sad. Okay, and... Of course, the first one is all about out of the blue, something good happens. Usually it's good anyway, out of the blue. So feeling blue is when you feel down. Yeah. Do you remember the Carpenters? They sang that song, didn't they? Rainy days and Mondays get me down. She has a line in there, doesn't she? About what I've got they used to call the blues. And I think that's related as well to the genre of music, the blues, jazz and blues, So, yeah, very good, very good. So there we have two, out of the blue, when something happens unexpectedly, usually a good thing. Feeling blue is the next one. Once in a blue moon, we did that a few days ago, so that's quite easy. Once in a blue moon, I think, is for something which happens not often. Okay, if something happens once in a blue moon, it doesn't happen very often. And of course, that's because a blue moon doesn't happen very often, but it does happen from time to time. So once in a blue moon, that's the next one. The next one, to do something until you're blue in the face. Yeah, that's quite common. Yeah, that's when you go to a great effort to do something and it has no effect. So you effectively do it until you're blue in the face and nothing changes or nothing happens. Okay. So I explained to my boss why I really need that promotion. And he told me, you can explain it till you're blue in the face, but you're not getting the promotion. Or I could say it about myself. I was blue in the face trying to explain to my parents why I need to go to university. But they just didn't listen. They just didn't listen. And that's it. So to do something until you're blue in the face. Another one is blue collar. And something which is blue collar it describes a manual worker. Now, this is a bit strange, this. I never understood this, but in the UK, we often describe people who do certain kinds of jobs as blue collar or white collar. Now, you can really work out what white collar is, I'm sure of that. A white collar job would be someone who wears a white shirt and a tie. But a blue collar job is someone who's a manual worker. Now, we hear this a lot, and it's really confusing, even for me. I mean, I don't like color coding because I can never remember which color goes with which industry. So, anyway, a blue collar worker is one who works in the industries like factory workers, historically the people who were sweeping the streets and these things. For some reason, I really, really don't like these color codes to describe industries. It just sounds a little bit discriminatory, so I don't use those. So there we are, feeling blue, once in a blue moon, blue collar. Do something until you're blue in the face and out of the blue. Now, speaking of colors, today is Native American Indian Day. So this is actually a public holiday in some US states. While bearing in mind that the land was taken from Native American Indians and many of them have really been displaced, it's good that there's a public holiday, at least to acknowledge the damage that's been done. So today is a big day celebrating the culture of Native American Indians. Now, for them, the color blue symbolizes peace in heaven, apparently. For the Cherokee shamans, blue represents north, and the blue man or blue spirits that brought defeat and trouble with it. In southeastern Native American tribes, there was a belief that blue warded off evil spirits. They painted their house doors in blue for this reason. Natives also used turquoise, blue stone, as the stone of protection. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Now, turquoise in English, I heard that the other day being pronounced turquoise. I don't know who uses that pronunciation, but yeah, anyway, Native Americans, they love color symbolism. Actually, I was out the other day and I passed one of these New Age stores, and it had these dream catchers hanging in the window. You know, dream catchers are those, they look like little hoops or circles and they're covered in feathers. And then they usually have a few more hoops hanging under. I'm sure you've seen them. They're very popular. Yeah, it was one of these New Age stores, you know, selling crystals and selling New Age paraphernalia, you know. And yeah, it was interesting. Some of those were very bright blue, you know. Apparently, those dream catchers are supposed to protect sleepers from bad dreams, nightmares, and evil spirits. Oh, I could do with a few of those hanging over my PC when I'm teaching on italki. They believed that at night the air was filled with dreams, both good and bad, and they would hang the dream catcher over their beds, but they had to be careful that daylight could reach it. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really believe in stuff like that. They say it protects the spirit from the long-term negative effects of them. Oh, certainly worth a try. Have one of them hanging over my laptop. They're sometimes known as sacred hoops. Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah, there's a bright blue one on this picture that I'm looking at here. So very nice, very nice. Yeah, speaking of hanging, that's another thing. You know, Britain's last hangman, Albert Pierpoint, There's a movie out about him that I want to see. For those of you who don't know, hanging, you know, the public punishment of putting someone to death, sometimes called capital punishment, was legal in the UK all the way up until the late 60s. I think the last hanging that actually took place was in the early 60s, but they didn't change the law until later. And Albert Pierpoint was an English hangman, and so was his father. And there's all kinds of public information about him. Quite a dark character. He owned a pub as well, so when he wasn't hanging people, he had a pub, and people used to like to go there, but nobody dared ask him about his job. He executed between 400 and 600 people over 25 years, and his uncle, as well as his father, were very famous for doing this. Yeah, he travelled to different places around the UK, hanging people. Yeah, it was really dark, I think. I'm not sure if that movie is on Netflix, but it's definitely on Amazon. It was called Pierre Point, The Last Hangman. Pierre has the French spelling of Pierre, Pierre. That was his surname, Pierre Point. His first name was Albert. So Pierre Point as one word, The Last Hangman. Oh, there's another movie as well. I think there's two looking at this, or maybe there's only one with two names. One's called Pierre Point, The Last Hangman, and the other's called simply Pierre Point. I think they might actually be the same movie. Oh, it's definitely on Prime Video. Yeah, Timothy Spall was Albert Pierrepoint. I must be getting old. I don't know any of these people. Oh, it's on DVD as well if you're really interested. Yeah. Yeah, his autobiography talks about his last conversations he had with people just before he hung them. Oh dear. Not the kind of man you want to hang around with. Having said that, though, I have to tell you that my grandmother, she lived next door to the local undertaker. You know, that's the man who looks after your body after you die. Kind of respectable job, I suppose, although I wouldn't want to do it. He was a grim-looking character. I remember him. And every time he left the house, my grandmother would kind of predict who had died. So she would see him going out, and then she would say, yeah, that'll be Mrs. Brown. Nah, I saw her yesterday. Finished. I knew she didn't have long on this planet. So every time he left the house, she made the prediction about who was dead, you know. And the weird thing about that was she was usually right. Anyway, this undertaker, he used to drink in one of the local bars, and people were terrified to talk to him because he was the only undertaker in town. So, of course, everybody ended up in his hands eventually, whether they were going to be cremated, whether they were going to be buried. They always ended up with him. Yeah, his name was Bill Smith, as I recall. Anyway, so they would meet him in the bar, and most people would just say hello to him and look the other way because no one wants to be reminded of death, you know. But a few young people dared to actually talk to him or try and joke with him in the pub about his job or about his family. And it was very strange because he just took one look at them, and his eyes went to the top of their head, and he moved them down slowly to their feet and then back up. And he would bring out the measuring tape from his pocket, and people would just run. So that was his way of shutting people up, making sure they didn't upset him. All he had to do was to measure them in his mind, bring out the measuring tape, and of course, everyone was absolutely terrified. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I wonder what happened to him. Anyway, yeah, so there we are. I suppose the color blue is the color you become once you're dead as well. Yeah. Did I tell you that when Elvis Presley died, uh, he had been taking so many drugs that very quickly, after he died, his skin turned black completely. And because of that, when the paramedics arrived, they didn't recognize him. And his girlfriend had to convince them that it was actually Elvis because he just looked like a black man. And the paramedics were a bit confused. They were saying, okay, well, where's Elvis? And the girlfriend was saying, well, that's him. And they're saying, well, but he's black. Yeah, he turned black almost immediately after he was dead. It's strange, isn't it? Well, anyway, that's it from me. I hope you all have a wonderful day and take care. Until soon. Bye.